Hello everybody, welcome to Grouper Moon 2026. My name's Todd Bohannon. I'm an educator with Reef and the Grouper Moon Project, and we are out here on Bloody Bay Wall today, famous dive site on Little Cayman. I'm so excited that all of you are here. I'm going to bring some of you up on the screen just so that you can see all these amazing students that are joining us and participating in this amazing conservation project. Look at everybody. Hi everyone! It's so good to see you all here. I'm so excited that you're here. Awesome. Yay. All right, so I'm going to take you off again, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on. All right, so like I said, my name's Todd, and I'm an educator on the Grouper Moon Project. And today is our third live stream. And today's live stream is happening live from Bloody Bay Wall on Little Cayman. Dr. Bryce Simmons is going to be wearing this special AGA face mask that allows him to dive and to still talk to you guys while he's underwater. And he's going to be showing you everything that's going on out there. We're going to be looking at all kinds of fish and corals and looking at this beautiful natural resource that you have on Little Cayman. We've been here on Little Cayman. I've been here since Saturday. Sunday, as you know, was the full moon, right? And the NASA have been out there on the aggregation site. We're seeing thousands of them, which is wonderful. And the divers are diving on the aggregation 3 times a day. A handful of divers going out there and counting fish and collecting data and seeing what's going on. Now, the fish have not yet spawned. We expect that that's going to maybe happen tonight, so fingers crossed. But everything is going as planned, except for there's been a little bit of weather. Which you all know. It's been surprisingly windy and chilly out here. But that said, everything is really going wonderfully. And it was so great to see all of you guys join the first 2 live streams. If you were unable to see one of the first live streams, either from Monday or Tuesday, those are all posted on Reef's YouTube page. I will email those to your teachers if you'd like to see them. This live stream also will be uploaded, and you will be able to watch this as you'd like. And please, teachers, feel free to share the YouTube links with parents and family members. They're welcome to watch and see what all the amazing stuff that we're doing out here. And greetings to Snipe Point East End on Little Cayman. It's so great to see you guys. Joanna Clark, it's awesome to see you guys. So right now, it looks like the divers are just about to get in the water. The photographer, the videographer for today, his name is Tom Spark. He's going to be holding the camera. And then the person that you're going to see speaking is Bryce Simmons, Dr. Bryce Simmons, who is one of the primary scientists on the Grouper Moon Project. How are we doing out there, guys? They're getting close. So while we're down there today, we're going to be looking for signs of a healthy coral reef habitat. Yeah? And the things that we want to look for are corals, soft corals like gorgonians and sea fans. We want to see lots of different types of fish. We're hoping that we might see a shark while we're down there. That would be pretty awesome. We may not see too many NASA, and that's because all of the NASA are out at the aggregation right now getting ready to spawn. But we're going to go down and we're going to take a look and see what we can find down there. Maybe we'll find some of the younger NASA that are not quite ready to go out and spawn. I was out snorkeling a couple of days ago, and I found a couple of juvenile NASA grouper that were about that big. So we think maybe about 2 years old, and that's a great sign that we're seeing young NASA here in the shallows. And just as well out on the Brack, I know that we're seeing many more NASA showing up. As you know, this has become one of the most successful conservation stories in the entire Caribbean and really throughout the world's fisheries. I mean, this has been an incredibly successful conservation project, and that's all thanks to everyone that's been working on the project, but also thanks to all of you guys, especially educators that go above and beyond to help get connected to this project, to share all of this with all of your students out there so that then you can share that with your families and friends. And the more people know about what we're doing, the more successful we're going to be at protecting the grouper and helping to support a healthy coral reef ecosystem here in the Cayman Islands. Now, I see Tom is just now getting into the water. It's actually raining here right now. This is the first time we've done a live stream in the rain. No problems, but you know, it's just a little bit different. And I can hear them right now getting in. Let's see if I can switch over to Tom's camera. Is Tom in now?
Tom is in, yeah.
All right, I'm going to switch over to Tom's camera and we're going to see if we can see what he's looking at underwater. Hold on. There we are. Yep, Tom, I can see you. And now you can see Bryce coming down.
First, we got a couple of divers, our safety divers, going in the water.
Okay, so it's not just Tom and Bryce that are going to be down there. In order to make this live stream happen, we need some cables to connect the camera and Bryce's audio to us up here on dry land. And so we have some divers that are going to be tending those lines to be sure that they don't land on the reef or do any sort of damage to the environment down there. So you'll see some divers in the background holding some lines, and that's what they're doing really. They're just making sure that we don't get those lines tangled up on anything.
Hey Todd.
Yes.
We had a plastic Ziploc bag with a syringe needle. We're going to do a little experiment with some.
Found it.
Great, awesome.
Found it. Oh.
Little fun experimental surprise for everybody.
That's a surprise even for me. That's exciting.
Keep you guessing, Todd. We keep you guessing.
I like it. I like it. This one of my favorite things about this project is it always keeps you on your toes.
All right,
There's
Todd,
something new every year. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm going to go ahead and jump in now.
Okay. All right. So, guys, now you're going to see Bryce jump in the water. There he is.
All right.
Excellent. So he's going to slowly descend now on our dive site. Hey, Croy, can you tell me what dive site we're on? Croy, can you tell me what dive site we're on? Okay, so we are on Mike's Mount, a dive site on Bloody Bay Wall, and there you can see Bryce Simmons slowly descending from the boat. We're on the DOE's Seakeeper, and he is coming down. You can see that hand. That hand is Tom Spark, who's just making the color correction that needs to happen for the camera, so it looks great. How are you doing, Bryce?
Doing super good. How's everybody doing back in the classrooms?
Well, actually, I'm going to unmute the classrooms for a minute because I want them to say hi to you.
Awesome.
Oh, I cannot unmute. But teachers, if you want to unmute your cameras for a minute and let your teacher or let your students say hi. Hey, Cayman Prep. Hey, Edna Moyle. Why don't you guys say hi to Bryce? Awesome. Everyone's waving at you, Bryce.
Hi, everybody. So great to be here with you guys again. We have had, as you all know, a lot of interesting weather this week, right? Crazy cold, lots of wind.
That's right.
Yeah, we actually missed a couple of days of diving because sometimes it gets a little rough out there and it gets to the point where we can't actually go out and do our work safely. And of course, like anything, it's important to be safe and make a call. And so our captains at the Department of Environment, they've been doing this for years. And when they say it's too rough for us to get out there, it's too rough.
Right, right.
Hey, I wanted to show you guys something. Just started this dive, right?
Yeah. So it looks like you're coming up on a reef there.
Yeah, exactly. We're on Bloody Bay Wall right now. Oh, here. Check it out, you guys.
Okay.
Right away. Here's our our friend NASA grouper right here. We got a little guy.
Yay!
See him? Now that's maybe a 4-year-old fish.
Oh yeah, beautiful. We see him first thing down. We see a Nassau. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a pretty young guy. He's not reproductively active.
So he's not old enough to go out to the aggregation yet.
Exactly. He's not there yet.
Oh, and there he goes.
So he's just hanging out on the home reef. All of his friends, the older guys, they're not here. Now that's a different species of grouper you're looking at right there. That's really cool. That's a yellowmouth grouper.
A yellowmouth grouper.
Yeah.
They do look similar.
Which is really cool. Like, what do I want to say about that? You guys are so lucky here in the Cayman Islands. It's not common to see right away a couple of different species of grouper on any other Caribbean reef. Here in the Cayman Islands, we have lots of grouper because your government and all of the people of the Cayman Islands have done a wonderful job of managing and conserving these fish, these top predators on coral reefs. So when you do dive like this, you can see them, which is really cool.
That's amazing, Bryce. What else are you seeing down there?
Well, this is, of course, a coral reef. It's basically a city made of little animals. All of the structure you see here is the result of animals producing rock, calcium. And it creates habitat for all kinds of animals and creatures of different varieties. You see a lot of fish here. This is a sponge, for instance.
So that right in front of you, that's a sponge.
This is a sponge, yeah.
Now, is a sponge an animal or is it a plant?
It's an animal.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it, right?
No.
It looks like a plant. These animals, sponges, they're filter feeders. So they take all the water from around them and they suck it through their tissue and push it up the top. And by doing that, they filter all of the particles that are in the water, and that's what feeds them. But as a consequence, they're also cleaning the water, and they're a carbon sink, meaning they take carbon that's in the water and they pull it into their own structure so they can use it to build.
So sponges are very important on our Caribbean coral reefs.
Really important for clean water, yeah. They're a bit, and also, as you can see, they're fish habitat, right?
Right.
So I'll do an experiment just because I'm here. We got this great sponge.
Perfect.
I'm going to show you what I mean when I say that they filter water and they move water. I'm going to squirt a little bit of dye around the base of this tube sponge.
So you've got dye in that syringe there.
Yeah, in this syringe I've got a little dye.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to squirt it at the bottom, and what you're going to see is that sponge is going to pull the water around the base of it and push it up, and that's the process of it filtering that water. So I'll just do a little bit here.
Oh, I can see it coming out.
Just if you watch now, it should be the case.
All right, so you've put the dye now around the base of the sponge.
Yeah, and what should happen is you should start to see this dye come out the top of the sponge as it starts to filter that water around it.
Is that what's happening now?
Yeah.
Wow.
See?
Oh, you can see it right there. It's coming out the top. Can you guys see that in your classrooms?
So it's almost like chimney smoke, right?
Right. Amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
That's
and so
incredible.
all of that water that's coming out the top of that sponge is now been filtered by the sponge itself. And so it's doing this all the time.
Wow.
Constantly filtering water.
That looks amazing. That looks great on the screen.
It doesn't look real, does it?
That looks like smokestacks.
Yeah, so as that sponge is filtering that water, it's cleaning it, and it's also taking all the little particles and animals that are in the water and bringing it into its body so it can use it for energy.
So, Bryce, what's the sponge taking out of the water?
it's taking out particulate organic matter. That's a fun term.
Uh-huh.
And that's just bits of detritus and little, like, poop,
Okay.
snot, lots of other things that all the other animals are producing.
And it eats that?
Yeah, and it'll turn that into its own, use it for energy. But it'll also filter things like phytoplankton, which are little baby plants that are usually single-celled organisms that are in the water column that's all around us. And those little phytoplankton, they take energy directly from the sun, just like plants do.
Right. Now, do those giant barrel sponges that we've seen out there on the aggregation, do they do the same thing?
Yeah, they
Wow.
sure do. Those are really big filter feeders. And the reason you see them out of places like the aggregation, there's a lot of water movement that happens out there right at the very edge of the shelf.
Right.
And it pushes all that oceanic water, all of that production, up onto the shelf. And as it gets there, those big sponges are there to bring in that water and filter it and get out all of those good nutrients.
That's amazing. So, Bryce, what other signs of a healthy reef are we seeing out there?
Lots of different fish of all different kinds at different levels in the ecosystem. You got everything from plankton flickers like this colorful little fish here, which is called a sergeant major.
Oh, we see them. So a sergeant major, and what do they eat?
Sergeant major eats plankton, so
Okay.
just kind of like the sponge, they're very good at picking the little organisms out of the water column as they come from the deep ocean and outer ocean. They wash up onto the reef.
Well, it looks like there's a lot of fish out there right now.
A lot of fish. All of these little blue guys, those are blue chromis, same thing. So as we get to the edge of the wall here, which is, you're going to see it right now, we're coming up on the wall. This is where the ocean water that's full of nutrients and plankton washes up onto the reef. And it's here that those plankton pickers, like the chromis, are able to make their living by picking food out of the water.
And that's through upwelling, is that right?
A little bit, yeah. It's a little process of upwelling. It's really more the movement of ocean waters
Okay.
that come and they slam into the reef. And they've been out there for a long time, generating lots of productive pelagic ecosystems that then feed the reef. The reef makes use of all of that, but that's not the only energy source of the reef.
Okay.
You guys see coral, right?
Right.
So we talked a lot about sponges, but let's point at a coral here. Here's a couple of different kinds of coral. That's a coral right there. Another plating coral right there. All of this structure has been produced by coral, this whole reef structure.
And corals are also animals, right?
They are, but here is the catch. We've been talking a lot about plankton pickers,
Right.
animals that feed the plankton, the little particles that are and animals that are in the water. Coral does that a little bit, but you know what the other thing coral does?
What?
It's got zooxanthellae. It's a fun word.
Zooxanthellae.
Zooxanthellae. Those are little cells that are their own organism. They're their own thing. They're little.
Is it an algae?
Yeah, it's a little algae that lives inside the coral, and it produces energy from sunlight, just like plants do.
Oh, Tom, that's a great shot of the coral. That looks wonderful.
Yeah, and those zooxanthellae make energy that the coral animals can use.
Is it true that the zooxanthellae give the corals their color?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why some corals, even of the same species, are different. Now, what you're looking at in that coral, that's not just one animal, that's many, many animals that are all clones of each other.
They're clones. They're exact replications of each other.
Yeah, and that's how corals grow.
Wow.
They split off, they make a polyp, and they make another individual that's just like the one that was there before, and they do that over and over again. And each one of those little animals, those clones, creates its own little home. It's called a polyp. And you can see all of those different polyps make up one coral.
Now, what is this right in front of you that looks like it's kind of waving in the water a little bit? That looks softer. That's not. Is that a gorgonian here?
Yeah, that's a soft coral.
Okay.
Same thing. They filter the water, but they also have the ability to take in zooxanthellae. It'd be like zooxanthellae are kind of like if you had your own personal power plant inside of you.
Wow.
And that's what these corals have. These soft corals as well as hard corals.
And all of them are filter feeders.
Yeah, they're all filter feeders. The exception is with these corals, is like sponges don't have that little power plant in the zooxanthellae like coral do.
Okay.
And that's what makes coral reefs pretty special, because otherwise, in lots of coral reef ecosystems, there's not a huge amount of energy in the pelagic food web to feed all of this structure.
When you say pelagic, Bryce, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean like open ocean.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
so if we go way offshore.
Yeah.
In a place like here.
Look at that, guys. There's the deep blue.
Yeah, look at that. And you see those plankton pickers out there, right?
I mean, are those all, they look like the blue chromis.
No, they do, but they're actually Creole wrasse.
Okay.
They're a wrasse.
Creole wrasse.
Yeah, tons of them, huh?
It looks like there's hundreds out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. All right, let's maybe move along the wall a little bit, see what else we can see.
Bryce, when you say there's a wall out there, what do you mean? Like, did we build a wall, or?
No, we didn't build this wall.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this structure exists here through geological processes of basically seamounts pushing up from the bottom of the ocean towards the surface. And then when it gets close enough to the surface, it gets close enough to the light, and that's when coral can start to grow, because remember, coral gets some of its energy from its internal power plants in the form of zooxanthellae.
Right.
That photosynthesize. They turn energy from the sun into energy the animal can use.
Just like plants do.
Like plants do. And so once that seamount gets pushed close enough to the surface, well, now all these animals can start to grow on it.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing here is both those things. Seamount pushes up, and then all kinds of animals start to build this city, this structure that is home to lots and lots of creatures. You know, coral reefs only make up about 1% of the ocean.
1%.
But about 25% of the diversity of the ocean lives on coral reefs.
Wow. So they're super important.
Really, really important, yeah.
Now, Bryce, can you go down to the bottom of that wall?
No. We can only go so deep.
Okay. How deep does that wall go?
It goes down over 1,000 feet. Yeah, so
wow.
it doesn't stop. And we as divers, we can only go to maybe 100, a little more than 100 feet safely.
Right.
Unless we've got specialized equipment. And even if we have specialized equipment, 1,000 feet is too deep. Yeah, we got great visibility today. And look, there's a couple of these, we were talking earlier about barrel sponges. I'll point out a couple here. These are...
Oh, wow. There are so many fish out there today.
Yeah, it's a good day for plankton pickers. Here's a couple of barrel sponges.
Those right there in front of you, those are the barrel sponges.
Yeah.
They're huge. Okay.
And believe it or not, these are kind of small. They get a lot bigger than this.
How big can they get, Bryce?
They can get bigger than me.
Really?
Yeah, some of the barrel sponges out at the aggregation site are really massive. Much bigger than me. Yeah, we got a good visibility day too, so I was kind of hoping we'll see a shark along the wall. It's not uncommon for us to see sharks cruising up and down the wall here, especially in the last decade or so.
And why is that?
Well, the Cayman Islands has done a great job of conserving top predators, not just grouper, but also sharks. And so we see more and more of them on our reefs here. And top predators are really important for reef ecosystems. For starters, They control the bullies of the reef. So the mesopredators, the predators that exist below the top predators.
Okay.
And those bullies, the mesopredators, they eat a lot of herbivores. And herbivores are important for mowing down algae. And when you clear a lot of algae, that's when corals can grow.
So you need to have those algae eaters to keep the corals healthy.
And so if you get top predators, they eat the middle predators. And when the middle predators are getting eaten, then the bottom herbivores do great. So that's why one of the main reasons why you want to have big top predators on the reef.
I see. And really what Bryce is describing is like he said at the beginning of this dive, a coral reef is really like a city. And all of the parts, all the living parts are important and have to be there to keep it healthy.
Exactly. And the thing is, the top of that food web, it's a pyramid, right?
Right.
There's a ton of things at the bottom. There's less as you move up and less, and then there's the top of the pyramid. Those are the big predators.
And where do the Nassau live on that pyramid?
Right towards the top.
They do, okay.
Not at the very top,
But
because they got to worry about sharks.
Sure.
But they're towards the top, so they're pretty important.
And have you guys been seeing sharks out on the aggregation?
Oh yeah, we see them all the time, almost every dive.
Really?
Yeah, sharks. It's a great. If you're a shark, great place to get a meal, because there's thousands and thousands of grouper out there.
That's right.
So it's a really good opportunity if you're a shark. And we've seen sharks attack grouper and eat them out there pretty regularly. And after nights of peak spotting, it'll usually be the case that during the day you'll see all kinds of Nassau grouper that have bite marks on them. So, yeah, it's a dangerous place if you're a Nassau grouper out there.
Now, Bryce, I know, we see a lot of these fish that are swimming around in the water column behind you, but I know there's lots of tiny little fish that are living on the corals themselves. Do you think that Tom might be able to get a close-up and see, like, some of the blennies or the gobies that are down there?
Yeah, let's see. How about we look at these guys right here, fairy basslets. These are beautiful little animals. See if Todd can get closer to them. They got shy. That is a predator.
Okay, so the yellow and blue, is that one?
Yeah. Yeah, in the aquarium trail, they're called Royal Garama. But they're fairy basslets. They only live in the Central Caribbean, and they tend to be found in places like this, like near walls. But they're little predators. They're a sea bass.
Really?
Yeah, and they'll eat like worms and little small shrimps. So they don't look scary at all. But if you're a little shrimp, they're terrifying.
Yeah, watch out.
There's also. I'm looking around and I'm not finding them, but we'll see them. There's tons of little gobies, and they play an important role on the reef.
Oh, we see there. I can see lots of little fish right there over that little patch of coral.
Those are called masked glass gobies.
Glass gobies.
Yeah, they're always found in schools, just like this. Tend to be found at the opening of a cave. Yeah, they're like little plankton pickers. And the relatives of these guys, the other gobies, that came in cleaning gobies, they're really important because they play a role as cleaning station animals. So,
what do you mean cleaning station animals?
Yeah, so big predators like Nassau grouper, they tend to get a lot of parasites. And so they'll pull up to a cleaning station, which is just a spot where there's a bunch of these cleaning gobies. And they'll usually indicate they're ready to get cleaned by they'll kind of put their nose up and they'll just stay still and hover.
Okay, so it looks like we have a couple of questions coming in, Bryce. Are you ready for a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the questions is, have you seen any coral bleaching?
Coral bleaching. We have seen it around the island. We've also seen some evidence of stony coral tissue loss disease, which is a new threat facing coral reefs. For a long time, Little Cayman didn't have much, but in the last 6 months, it's showed up even here.
Okay.
And so we've seen it. It's not so much over here on Bloody Bay.
Okay.
But I'm afraid it's only a matter of time until it really starts to take hold here too. It is just one of the many diseases that's causing coral bleaching and coral loss.
Okay, I see. We have another question. Do you believe increasing shark populations due to conservation will affect tourism in the future?
I do. But it depends on what you mean by effect. I don't think most tourists, especially dive tourists, I don't think that they're generally scared of sharks. I think they want to see sharks.
Right.
And so I think it'll affect people's willingness to pay to come if they know they're going to get to see sharks.
Sure.
So I think actually it's going to affect them, yeah, but it's going to make it more exciting for people to come and scuba dive because they get to see sharks.
I see.
The sharks that we have here, mostly, are Caribbean reef sharks. And they really are not a threat to humans. They're fun to see.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Now, we have another question from CIS, Cayman International School, and their question is, how many grouper have you counted this year?
I think we've seen about 3,000 to 4,000. I think there's quite a bit more out there. They've just been really spread out, so it's been hard for us to get an accurate count. That's why we do things like that facial marker capture. That helps us to get a good population estimate. When a population gets as big as the one is here, with maybe 8, 9, 10,000 fish,
Yeah.
it's hard for us to count that many underwater and see them all.
Sure.
And so we rely on other tools like facial marker capture.
All right, we have another question from Cayman Prep. The question is, does fishing impact the reef?
It does in a couple of ways. There can be direct impacts through things like anchoring, maybe even ship groundings. And then also if you take those top predators off of a reef like we talked about, it can affect everything else below them in terms of the ecosystem.
Sure.
Now that said, is all fishing bad? Not at all.
No.
In fact, we need fishing. We need to catch fish from the ocean because it's part of our culture, the Cayman Islands culture, but it's also the humanity. Humans rely on fish for food.
Right.
So we have to do it sustainably. We have to do it the right way.
Right. We are part of the environment, aren't we?
Well, 100%. We're part of it. We're not above it. We're in it.
Exactly. Another question we have is, are there any other species of fish other than grouper that that's had a concerning fall in their population?
I'm sorry, I missed that question. That have what?
Has there been any other fish populations in the Caribbean whose population has declined?
Yeah. There's several species just of grouper that have declined. We've got Nassau grouper, also Goliath grouper. Those are the huge ones. They're
Right,
really,
they could
really
be
big.
as big as a car.
Yeah, they can get really big. They've declined quite a bit. We've got some species of fish that people don't know a lot about or think too much about, like Caribbean hamlets. They're only found in the Caribbean. They're not anywhere else in the ocean. And we've seen quite a bit of decline in those populations. But it's not talked about as much because people don't fish for them. And we have no idea why they're declining.
Okay. So there's many mysteries still out there, and that's why we're counting on some of you kids becoming scientists and coming out and taking over this work and continuing the work. We have another question from Edna Moyle Primary School, and their question is, why do we need coral?
Coral is responsible for all of this. All of the structure we see here has been built by corals. It literally is the architect of this city that is a coral reef.
Ooh, look at that parrotfish.
And without the coral, you wouldn't have these reefs. Now, as humans, why do we need that?
Yeah.
Well, coral reefs in the Cayman Islands, for instance, are really important at providing buffering or sheltering against big storm events that happen. So as the coral reef around the Caymans, if it declines, we're going to lose some of the protection that coral reefs afford us when it comes to storm impacts on your shores.
So if with less corals, we would lose some of the beaches.
You'd lose some of the beaches? And you want to know a fun fact?
What?
A lot of the beaches with the beautiful sand, that beautiful sand is actually poop that comes from animals like this guy right here. These herbivores.
And what is that?
That's a surgeonfish.
Beautiful.
Mostly parrotfish and a little bit surgeonfish are responsible for sand because they take scraping bites of the coral to try and eat the algae, and that scraping bite of the coral turns some of that coral into little small fragments of coral structure, and that's what creates sand. They poop it out, and there you go. All of a sudden, you got a ton of sand.
That's incredible, Bryce.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of parrotfish there. You're seeing there's a stop-link parrotfish and princess parrotfish, striped parrotfish. Lots of different parrotfish species here. They're all important. They all have their unique roles.
Now, Island Primary is asking, what was the most grouper you've seen in 1 year?
I think probably year before last, I think we got a really good look at about 9,000 fish.
Wow.
Nassau grouper. Now, it's not just Nassau grouper that are out of that spawning site. There's also a very large population of yellowfin grouper. I think here in the Cayman Islands, the fishermen call them rock grouper.
Okay.
Yeah, there's also thousands of them out there as well. We just don't see them because they're very shy. They tend to stay away from people. They hide when we get close. But off in the distance, we can see them, and there's thousands of them out there as well. So they are also protected at the same time that Nassau grouper are protected.
Okay, another question from Cayman Prep High School is, how many rays have you seen?
Like stingrays?
Yes. Are you doing okay on air?
Yeah, I think maybe this will be the last question, and then we'll come up and I'll see you up top. Does that sound good?
That sounds perfect, Bryce.
Stingrays, I've only seen a couple of southern stingrays, not even diving. I've seen them on the dock from shore this trip. I haven't seen any stingrays. We really don't commonly see stingrays out of the aggregation site.
Right.
It's not really their habitat. It's pretty deep, not a lot of sand out there.
I see. Bryce, thank you so much for showing us all of that down there. You did such a great job. I know that you need to now do your safety stop and head back up, so I'm going to change cameras and we're going to come back up here and continue answering questions from the kids, okay?
That sounds good. We'll see you up top side.
All right, we'll see you in a minute, Bryce.
Sign it off. Thank you, guys.
All right. Let's see. Hi, everybody. Woo! Good to see you. So I'm going to introduce you guys to a couple of the scientists that are working on the project. This is Dr. Scott Happel. Now, I'm gonna start. He's with Reef, and I'm gonna have him introduce himself, and then we're gonna keep answering some of these questions. We're also gonna bring in Dr. Croy McCoy, who also is here with the DOE. I'm going to hand it over to him first. I'm going to have him introduce himself, and then Scott, and then we'll continue with some of your questions. Can you tell everyone who you are and what your role
Hi,
is?
everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep, it looks like we can hear you.
Because I can't hear. Okay.
Audio. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, everyone.
If you keep this one off, you'll be able to hear it better with one ear off. All right. So
Can everyone hear me now?
Yep.
I'm Croy McCoy. I'm the research manager at the DOE and been involved with the Grouper Moon project since its inception. So over 20 years. and originally from Brack, Spot Bay Primary. I'll pick you up. That's where I went to school.
And we've got Spot Bay on here today.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those.
So why were so it looks like Island Primary is asking, why were there less grouper last year?
It's still a bit of a mystery. We don't think that there was a decrease in the population. Mother Nature always throws curveball. It's sort of like this year we're finding that they're moving. There's a process that fish will move into currents called rheotaxis, and they move upstream. And we're finding that this year where they're not where we normally find them. They're almost over a quarter of a mile away. So that might be one explanation. The other one was the possibility of they came a month early, which would have thrown us off of our calculations for when they were expected to show up for the spawn.
All right, now Joanna Clark Primary is wondering, why isn't the coral reef more colorful?
Well, for one, it's a very gloomy day. It's raining outside.
So there's not as much sun.
There's not as much sun, and also I think the visibility on the water is a little diminished today.
And why is that?
And in this area we're in, we have something called an algal bloom. There's a lot of little zooplankton in the water, and it gets a little green in those instances, so that might be affecting it. There's a combination of those facts. No sun, a little rain, and the visibility in the water is limited because of these little phytoplankton that's in the water column.
Okay, so Edna Moyle also is wondering, how many types of coral are there on the reef here?
I have documented myself about 35 species. I think in the whole region there's about 65. But over the years, we do our annual coral reef monitoring across Grand Cayman Little and Cayman Brack. We've documented around 35, max about 38, but an average of 35 species.
All right. We have another question from Edna Moyle. What is the most memorable thing you've seen while on a dive?
That's a tough one. There's been many.
Maybe just pick one of them.
The most memorable that I have ever seen is seeing dozens of sharks at the aggregation, actually trying to hunt Nassau grouper. So it's sort of like a blue planet moment that you see them. They're very cunning in how they go about this, almost in packs. So rather than one sole shark,
almost like wolves.
Yeah, they sort of when they get in large groups, they sort of work together for a common goal of supper, and in doing that, and then seeing how they react to each other, trying to steal a piece of fish to feed on from each other, and it is something you normally only see like on these documentaries such as like Blue Planet, but here you are watching it in real time.
All right, so Island Primary is wondering, what do Nassau grouper eat?
They're some of our top predators on our reef, and they eat crustaceans, they eat other fish, mesopredators.
Are they hunters like sharks? What do they do? How do they catch their food?
They actually have the ability to gulp fish, almost like how. Yeah,
they have
but
big jaws.
Big jaws. The gape size, we call that's the size of the mouth, is very large, and they will hunt other fish down. I mean, that's their main, like squirrelfish, what we call the coney, which we call locally butterfish, and they feed on all of those fish and smaller snappers and stuff, and thankfully they started eating lionfish, which
that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's an invasive species on our reef, but they love crustaceans. I know that also, such as crabs and lobsters. So their diet is varied.
All right, Island Primary is wondering, have you ever touched a grouper, and if so, what did it feel like?
This takes me back to my teenage years diving in Lower Cayman and Brack.
Tell us about it.
No, it's these islands, at least in Little Cayman and towards the western end of the Brac, always had really friendly groupers that we used to. We didn't know where the aggregation was back then, but you could actually pet them and hold them. And as a young kid, I guess teenagers, looking back at it, I used to be able to just put them into my BCD and just swim along with them.
And they would just
And
hang out with
they
you.
just hang out. They became very domesticated, I guess
They
you could
got
call
used
it.
to people.
Yeah, and they knew who you were. I mean, they I know we use an AI now with facial recognition, but they have the ability to recognize someone that's not a threat or anything, and they allow you to pet them and as such. And but they have this mucus layer over their scales that when you do touch it, it feels really smooth and a bit slimy. But that's almost like a mucus protective layer that they have over them.
Now, have you ever named a grouper?
Many.
Really?
Yeah, I mean
So
everything.
What were some of the names that you named the grouper?
You're looking at over 3 decades of diving
Yeah.
here, so I mean.
Because I know here there
Yes.
was one called, was it Uncle Lucky or no?
Lucky was that one that a shark bit
That's
half
right,
of them,
that's
and
right.
he survived and still went on to be reproductively active. We had one called Ben. We had one called Charlie. I mean, just like
Yeah.
it's like having a dog.
Yeah.
You know these animals, and they would always just come around, and you knew the individual because their patterns, even though they're the same species, it's like what we're using now with AI to recognize each fish. They all, they're different because of the pattern.
have a unique
Yeah,
pattern, like
they
a
have the
fingerprint.
unique, exactly, and their behavior too. They have they're very charismatic, and you recognize the behavior of each one. Some would allow you to pet it, without even, caring, while others are a little more reserved, and he would be sort of checking you out before he allow you to really touch them. So
I mean, they're very unique fish.
they're puppies of our ocean.
The puppies of the ocean. Edna Moyle is asking, what's the rarest fish you've seen?
That's a pretty interesting question, actually. Um, the one fish I've only seen after of over 4 decades of diving that I've seen once, which is very rare, is a whale shark. And that was actually off of Rum Point in Grand Cayman. I was out doing some field work, and I was on my way back, and we spotted it. I actually thought it was a log.
Whale shark.
A whale shark, yeah. It was.
And you thought it was what?
I thought it was a log. They're so graceful, and they're moving really slow. And we got in the water with it before it swam off of the wall. But that's probably the only fish that I've seen once in all my, over 4 decades of diving.
That's
So,
amazing. Croy, thank you so much for sharing with the
thank you,
kids.
and have a good day.
All right, everybody, I want to introduce you to one more scientist who's working on the project. His name is Dr. Scott Happel. He comes from Oregon State University.
Hey everybody, it's really great to meet you today. Thanks for joining us. I hope you really enjoyed the dive. And
What is your role on this project? What do you
so I am one of the scientists, as Todd mentioned, and so he also said that I'm from Oregon State University, a long way from here. But I've been coming down here for 22 years now, something like that, working on understanding the movement patterns and the reproductive biology and the ecology and the influence that this aggregation has on the health of the reefs in the Cayman Islands.
So I see a question here is, how long does it take for coral reef to grow?
So corals, there are a bunch of different species, as Dr. McCoy just mentioned, and some of them really grow pretty fast and some of them are very slow. And when I'm talking about pretty fast, we're talking about maybe a centimeter a year.
Wow.
Right there. So from our perspective, if you were growing a centimeter a year, it'd take you a really long time to get to be the size you are. But they're not in a hurry to get anywhere, and they just grow and grow as they're filtering food and getting that extra bonus from those zooxanthellae that was being talked about by Dr. Simmons, by Bryce while he was underwater.
Awesome. Let's see if we can get Bryce to come in for a minute.
I'll ask him.
Here, take this.
Bryce, come on in.
Hey guys, I just wanted to pull you up on the screen so that you guys can wave at everybody on the internet. It's so awesome to see you here. I just want you to say hi to Bryce here, who's a little bit chilly, but I wanted you to see him without his face mask on.
Hi everybody, I'm back up top. Oh, it was so cold, you guys. It's just a winter cold front and everything. How's everybody doing over there? I see everybody waving. That's so awesome. It was great to come with me on the dive. I really appreciated you guys sticking with us as we went through that dive. It was a lot of fun. Hey, I wanted to tell you, you're not going to believe this. The moment that we signed off so we could start coming up, and you guys switched over to Todd up here topside, a giant Caribbean reef shark came right by us. And so we didn't get to show it to you, which I'm so bummed about, but we got to see him. Really amazing to see those big predators on the home reef. So thanks a lot for coming with us on that dive. I really appreciate it, you guys.
Thank you so much, Bryce. Okay, we've got a couple last questions, and then we're going to sign off for today. One question is from Edna Moyle. Why do grouper go to a specific area to spawn? That's a great question. Nassau grouper have historically gone to a number of locations around the Caribbean or the Cayman Islands and to spawn. And it's actually changed over time. They used to spawn on the other end of Little Cayman than the end of the island that they are currently spawning on. But we believe that the places where they spawn are very important ecologically for many species, not just the Nassau. Many of them will go out there and use that area to spawn. And they all, as you know, they go back to that same place. They go back to the place where they were born to spawn. And it's really, really just an amazing thing. Okay, I think that's all the time that we have for today. I want to thank all of you guys out there for joining us. It was so great to see you. I will get some clips of those sharks up there on the blog for you so your teachers can take you to the Grouper Moon blog and you can see some of the amazing sharks that we're seeing out on the islands. And if you want to unmute yourselves and say hi, you can. Thanks so much, everybody. Good job. Go Grouper Moon. Yay, Island Primary, CIS, Cayman Prep. It's so Joanna Clark, Edna Moyle. Welcome. We'll see you all next time. Woo! All right. Bye-bye, everybody.